there's a mistake that a lot of folks make with their website. And one of the biggest killers of website performance is ego. As much as we want our websites to look great, have great features, have pages that share information about us, and so on, the website, in most businesses' case, is not for us. We are not the buyer. We are not the person that's going to be landing on the site and potentially request to do business, book a demo or book a sales call, whatever the action is. Usually folks want to quickly get an idea of kind of exactly what it is you do, how you're going to help them, and how they can take that next step.
This is Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. We are the #1 business show on the planet with over 1 million downloads a month. Taking the BS out of business for over 6 years and over 400 episodes. You ready to start snapping necks and cashing checks? Well, it starts right about now.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Right About Now. We're making it right now. It's always discussion about how you do better marketing, how you do better B2B marketing. We decided to go to the expert, Sam Dunning. He's the founder of Breaking B2B. Welcome to the show, Sam.
Hey, Ryan. Appreciate you having me on, man. Really looking forward to the conversation and excited to get stuck in.
Just like my accent gives away that I'm a Southern guy from the States, it's clear you're across the pond a little bit. Where's home, Sam?
Yeah, so I'm Southern as well, but Southern in England. So I'm right in the southwest. For any folks that are familiar with England, I'm near a city called Bristol, probably about 2.5 hours from London, in a little town called Yeovil in Somerset.
Let's just set the table for everyone, Sam. Let's give everyone your background and a little bit of your career story and trajectory.
I started off in business-wise. My first job was in the retail world, which is kind of funny because probably about 1.5 years in, I realized that I absolutely hated working in retail. So I worked in a shop called Jessop's. For anyone not familiar with that, selling like camera equipment. It kind of relates to what I do now, just like yourself. I run a podcast. That was kind of where my keenness for it came in. So selling like video cameras, SLRs, tripods, anything associated with cameras. But I soon realized that although I love media, I did not like dealing with the general public. I don't know what folks are like in the US, but when you go up to someone and say, "Can I help you there?" or "How are you doing there?" people in the UK just grunt at you and like almost moan at you. They'll swear at you. And probably about 1 year into that role, I'm really hating this, man. I was probably 18 years old. And then my cousin said he was actually recruiting at this web agency. At the time, a company called Web Choice. He said, "There's a project management stroke sales role going." I said, "Sounds good, man. I'm tired of this." So I took an interview the next day and thought, jacked in that retail job, started working at a web agency, and essentially was like a jack of all trades. So started off project managing websites, doing a few sales calls, learning how to design sites, learning what was involved in digital marketing to start growing businesses. But a quick funny story, one of the first leads, one of the first sales inquiries they ever gave me, I called them up and this lead came in, I called the guy and he wanted this is probably about 12 years ago, Ryan, and he wanted a website, no joke, that was pretty much the same spec as LinkedIn. So, quite a small website.
Yeah,
I'm joking, probably the biggest platform you get.
Yeah. Exactly.
Probably the biggest scope of work for a web project you could even imagine. And I think
did you actually do it?
Well, this is the even funnier part, or probably not that funny, was I think I quoted him because I had no clue at the time about sales. And I was 18, 19, roughly. Now I'm 33. I just said yes to every request on the sales call. I just said yes, having no clue if we could deliver it. And then somehow sold this first ever lead that I took on, but sold it. I couldn't have undersold it anymore. I sold it for like £500, which is probably the equivalent of like, I don't know, $700-800. And luckily,
to do a LinkedIn website.
Yeah, man, it's insane, right?
Yeah.
Like even however many years ago that was, like 14 or so years ago, it's still insane. Luckily, we started doing like a few designs, and then this guy let us transition it off, like cross it over into other work because he realized that the spec was too crazy. But luckily, this guy was quite friendly and kind of understood that I was new. But yeah, as the years went on, I've had other jobs in between, kind of working at web agencies, like nearly joined the army, worked in a call center, worked for a marketing agency, was going to be a paratrooper, none of which worked out. And then I've always kind of been drawn back into the web and SEO world. And I think what kind of resonated with me was the fact that you could use a website as almost like a salesperson in itself, as it's live 24/7, working around the clock. I love the fact that websites can really fuel a business with inquiries, with sales leads and all that good stuff. And they really can be the heart and soul of the business. And that teamed up with SEO, I talked about quite a lot on episodes and podcasts like this, where you can kind of rank on Google and drive organic traffic. The fact that you can kind of build this site to fuel your sales team really kind of intrigued me. And that's why a lot of what I talk about is geared up around around this stuff, and then eventually became a director in my last web business, which I exited. And then recently, start of this year, fired up Breaking B2B, which is a B2B SEO and web agency. And we also run podcasts, which is themed around B2B marketing, where we interview practitioners that are B2B marketers and founders, called Breaking B2B as well.
Similar journey to a lot of people. You're finding your passions, finding your skill sets, and ultimately finding fascination and interest in something, and then honing in your skills around that. If I'm summarizing well, Sam, at least that's what I'm hearing.
Making a lot of mistakes as well. Let's not forget that. Doing a lot of stupid stuff. The LinkedIn is just the tip of the iceberg. I've made so many stupid mistakes over the years, man. So many silly things.
I'm trying to think of how you were spat out like after the fact. Because, on its surface, if you go, even now, if you go like on the surface, it doesn't look that complicated like the UI, but it's all the functionality and databases and all the stuff that's behind that you can't see.
Exactly.
That starts to break down. Probably even I'm sure LinkedIn used like some gigantic digital agency wherever and spent millions of dollars on it. But at the same time, even like in a small agency, if you're specking that out, that's probably $200,000 or $300,000.
Oh, easy.
Easy.
It's like when I've had sales inquiries years ago where folks would say, I just need a website like Google, just a simple one pager like Google. I can pay you $300 and we can get it done. And I'm just falling off my chair in laughter.
Yeah, exactly. Well, people, you don't know what you don't know.
Exactly, man.
Turning to the B2B side, it is fascinating that you have this both quandary and opportunity with websites that you want it to look great. You want to be proud of it. You want this aesthetic that has been the historical perspective of your brand and all those things. In reality, you have this great opportunity, like you said, to deliver a sales funnel and leads if you can get out of your own way.
Yeah.
And I think even today, working with particularly medium to larger companies, and maybe even small companies. I mean, it depends on who's in charge and what their aesthetics are. But I think there's even today the battle that happens with what it looks like versus what it does. How do you approach that? And is that still a common refrain that you hear?
What it looks like versus what it does. If I may, there's a mistake that a lot of folks make with their website. And one of the biggest killers of website performance is ego. So to dive into that a bit deeper, what I mean by, and that could be if you're running a small business that you're the founder and you're doing all the work on your website yourself, or maybe you're getting a contractor. Maybe you're a larger organization and you've got a marketing team that are going to be delivering it. You've got a team of execs that are going to be delivering it. But what you've got to realize is, as much as we want our websites to look great, have great features, have pages that share information about us, and so on, the website, in most businesses' case, is not for us. We are not the buyer. We are not the person that's going to be landing on the site and potentially request to do business, book a demo or book a sales call, whatever the action is. We've probably got a warehouse full of our goods, our services, or if we're a technology business, we've got almost unlimited supply within reason of what we can deliver. So one of the biggest issues is that folks kind of spend all this time designing, building the copy, the content, the messaging, building out the pages, but they do it all for what they think looks good as either the marketing or the founder of the business. The issue with that is, unless you fit your ideal client persona 100%, which is pretty rare, your focus clients, aka the people that you want to inquire on your website or to buy your stuff, probably not going to resonate with it as well as you think they are. And we're often quite biased, right? And I've made this mistake on my own websites in the past. You become too attached to it. You start using copy and text like on your website headlines, like award-winning, best in class, we've been in business 100 years and all this kind of stuff, which we think in theory is going to work. But most of the time, if folks are landing on your website, especially your homepage, which we can dive into the fundamentals in a sec, usually folks want to quickly get an idea of kind of exactly what it is you do, how you're going to help them, and how they can take that next step. Because especially in the times we're in now with AI fast improving, people are time short, so they don't have tons of time to scroll through your website and work out exactly what problems you fix, the value you bring to their life, and how to be able to contact you. So that's a taster into it.
I love the thought when you said ego. We all think we know what's best and we have what's in our mind. And a lot of times that's serving, like you said, ourselves instead of our audience, instead of our target. Because it reminds me a lot of like discussions I've had over the years with marketing executives and clients, and like having to tell them the bragging stuff, the speed, the feeds, the stuff that you're so proud of about your product, about your service, about what you do. You're so proud of it, but it doesn't translate to necessarily actually solving an issue or a problem for your client. And that sounds very much the discussion we're talking about now when framing up, especially the key positioning on the homepage.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And these issues, like you mentioned there, Ryan, they're not just appropriate for your website. They're appropriate for marketing in general. Like these are fundamentals, right? When you're building marketing assets, be that website content, website messaging headlines, be that ad headlines, whether it's for Google ads, whether it's for LinkedIn ads, Facebook ads, etc., whether it's other marketing collateral, you've got to put yourself in the shoes of your focus clients, the people that you want to stop in their tracks, attract, grab their attention, and then point them to take an action, whether that's to learn more, book a demo, check out your case studies, whatever. So one of the biggest things that you want to do, like at the very start of a website exercise, is actually kind of spend some time, whether that's yourself as the founder or with your team, and kind of really get down to basics. What exactly do we want to get out of this website? Because I think that's just an exercise that people don't do. They get into the design, they get into the exciting stuff, but they skip out the fundamentals. So in B2B, like most B2B companies, most folks that I've interviewed, maybe 350 or so marketing execs on Breaking B2B. And from my experience, typically what they want to see on a B2B website is a quick idea of kind of what you do or the problem you fix and how you help. They want to see some proof of results. So that could be case studies, testimonials, review videos, accreditations, walkthroughs, etc. They want to see some kind of proof of your offer in action. So if you're like a technology or software business, maybe it's a demo before trial. They usually want to see how much it costs. So some kind of indicative area of pricing, whether that's ballpark figures, starting ranges, or packages. They want to get their questions answered. So maybe you've got FAQ sections or relevant pages that address those key questions that come up in sales calls. And then they want an easy route to speak to sales. So maybe that's weaving in a Calendly or similar. So someone can book time directly on a sales rep's calendar, or using a tool like Revenue Hero, which is similar to Calendly, or a simple to fill out form or book a call, whatever that is. So that's usually kind of the fundamentals of what people want out of B2B site. But one tip that you can do is, if you really want your website to resonate with these target clients that you actually want to buy your stuff and generate leads for on your website, this is something that's skipped by a lot of websites, and it's understandable because it takes a bit of time. It's customer research. So what I'm saying here is basically interviewing anywhere between, if you can, 5 to 10 recently signed or recently onboarded clients, or if you don't have access to that as a new business, maybe folks that fit your target persona, like the people that you want to go after. And you may have to offer them something like a free consult or something perhaps that's kind of a free low ticket item you can provide. But from these people, you can get golden nuggets, which is really going to make sure your messaging, your headlines, your content resonate, because these are the people you want to attract and convert. This is where you can ask them things like, if it's a recently onboarded customer, what was the frustrating problem that kind of tipped you over the edge, was becoming so annoying that stopped you in your tracks, that kind of made you decide that it's time to fix it and reach out to a company like ours? And that's going to be really impactful for your headline. Something like that is useful to know. What do you care about seeing on vendors in our sector, in our industry's website? Like, what are the main things you quickly want to learn, see, and take action upon? Again, these are golden nuggets because it's actually going to give you spill the tea on what people actually care about seeing on your site. How do we stack up, in your opinion, to other agencies or other companies or other similar businesses in our sector? And if you have got an existing website, you can ask questions around, what do you feel is missing on our current website? So that can give you some real insights. Like they might say, we don't have a pricing page, or your case studies are quite thin, or I couldn't really understand exactly what it is you do, or it's quite difficult to contact you. So my point here is, you're doing these 5 to 10 interviews using a transcript tool, maybe like Otter or similar, so you can kind of dissect the notes after each call on Zoom. And then from there, you want to look for patterns. Once you do 5 to 10 interviews, you'll see patterns in people's responses. You'll see common things that come up, like it might be, this is the juicy problem we fix. This is the main outcome people want as a result of working with us. For clients that we've already worked with, this was the main outcome we actually brought to them. Okay, excellent. We can use this problem and this solution in our website headline, i.e. we do X that fixes Y as our headline. And you'll get all this juicy intel that's going to basically mean that you're not designing and building your website on guesswork. You're building your pages, your content, your messaging, and more based on what real potential clients or existing clients care about learning, seeing, and doing. So that's one of the vital steps. It takes a little bit of research work, but if you're a kind of growing organization, it's something that's going to be worth its weight in gold. So it just means that your website is going to convert better, in short.
And that is very good practical advice. It makes a lot of sense, like when you're listening. Sam, as we close out here, any final tips, tricks, or things that you counsel people on?
Yeah, I mean, to summarize what we've discussed, your website can quite literally be your very best. best or be your very worst salesperson, depending on how you research, design, build, update, and market it. In most companies' case, they want it to be their best. Don't neglect it. Even if 90% of your business is word of mouth or referrals, those folks are probably still checking your website, and you don't know what you don't know. So you're not going to know about a lead that you missed. You're just going to miss it. If that website isn't hitting the mark, like it's taking ages to load, it's not presenting the information they care about seeing, it's not building confidence with results, it's not sharing the key piece of information they need, you're losing leads, losing potential business that you didn't even know was coming through the door, and your competitors are getting a free lunch. So that's what I'd urge you to consider.
I love it. Good advice. You don't know what you're missing out on. That's the scary thing. You don't know how many people are dropping off if they're not getting to the bottom of at least the form fill or something like that. Nothing worse than that. Sam, where can everybody learn more about what you got going on and everything you're doing with Breaking B2B?
Appreciate it, man. So yeah, by all means, connect on me on LinkedIn. My name's Sam Dunning. I share the daily tips around website SEO and more. I run the podcast, which is called Breaking B2B, where we interview marketing practitioners, or I also run solo episodes each week with stories, ideas, case studies, B2B marketing. Or lastly, if you're perhaps a little frustrated that every time target clients search for what you do on Google, your competitors are above you, stealing traffic and inbounds, or maybe you've got a decent site already, but it's just not converting a steady flow of sales leads for your team, then happy to discuss and see if we can help you. It's breakingb2b.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming on, Sam, and I look forward to further partnership and discussions. Got a lot to share.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey guys, you want to find us, RyanIsRight.com. Find all the highlight clips and the full episodes and the show notes where you can get the details to Sam's info and all things Breaking B2B. You know where I'm at Ryan Alford on all the social media platforms. We'll see you next time on Right About Now.
This has been Right About Now with Ryan Alford, a Radcast Network production. Visit RyanIsRight.com for full audio and video versions of the show or to inquire about sponsorship opportunities. Thanks for listening.